Photoshop is a pretty cool program that many of us know about. Used by photographers, editors, and basically everyone in between, it's used to create, correct, and hide a couple of things. But it's hard to know how to take full advantage of Photoshop when it has so many features, especially if you've just started using it. So as digital artists who are daily users of the program, here are some basic tips and tricks that we've learned over the years that should help you out with your Photoshop experience. Drawing on the background layer is the infamous accident that seems to happen to us way too often. So let's say that you have drawn some relatively neat sketches or line work on the background layer. The solution is color range. First, unlock the background layer, make a new layer, and with the fill bucket, make it white and place it underneath your pre-existing layers. It acts as another background layer. Now go to Select, Color Range, and with the eyedropper tool, select the white areas of your canvas. Tweak the fuzziness, see what works, press delete, and boom, it's magic. The line work becomes transparent. Color range is just as useful for cleaning sketches and photographs of traditional work in the same exact way. It's a very common occurrence to undo stuff as you're drawing, but let's say you want to go back, like way back. But Photoshop's default number of undos is initially limited to 20, which means you can't go back 21 times. So to have an unlimited number of undos, or actually 1,000, hop on over to Photoshop CC or whatever version you're using, Preferences, Performance, and under History and Cache, you can set your history states to 1,000. Voila, now you can undo a heck ton of things. Some drawings have subjects that are moving around, but sometimes they need a bit of help or a little something to emphasize their motion. Add motion blur by copying your layers, which should be merged as one layer. So for example, I personally do this at the end of my drawing process. Then with that duplicate, go to Filter, Blur, and add motion blur. Since the affected layer is a duplicate, you can lower the opacity and erase the areas that don't need any blur with a soft brush. Creating a sense of depth can be achieved with Gaussian blur. Add it in the same way as motion blur to get a strong sense of foreground and background in your work. Which, by the way, if you look up this word in particular, you'll find these things. Why, Photoshop? Why? Adding a 3D effect can really make your artwork pop and give it a different sensation. To add a 3D effect, head on over to Filter, Lens Correction, and under the Custom tab on the right of your screen, pull the Chromatic Aberration sliders and see what works. You'll find that playing around with reds and blues in particular will make your art look like it's shrouded in those funky glasses you got at the cinema. Zooming in and out is something we sometimes will constantly do while we're working on a canvas. This is kind of a drawback, even though it adds a little bit of finger muscle, but if you'd like to save some finger energy, go ahead and open a new window by going to Window, Arrange, and then selecting Open a New Window for whatever your file name is. This allows you to view your work at any two distances simultaneously, meaning you can draw details and see how they're affecting the big picture. Texture adds lots of personality. Now you can create texture yourself by crumpling a piece of paper and taking a picture of it, for example, or by finding a free texture on the internet. Drag your desired texture image into Photoshop and then over the layers that you want textured. Now just convert the texture image into an overlay layer and fiddle around with the opacity. You can change modes as well just to see what works. Photoshop has its own textures as well. I personally like adding noise as a final touch to my artwork to add a traditional-ish feel to it, and Filter Gallery has some neat effects in there that serve as great textures as well. That's it for the 6th episode of Tales of Tales. Thank you for watching, and yes, the hiatus is broken now, so we'll be back next month with a new video. If you'd like to support our creations, get exclusive art and content, as well as vote on TOT video topics, you can do so on Patreon. Again, we'll be back next month. Until then, take care, my peeps.